Alright, guys. It looks like we're live. Okay, sweet. Awesome. Okay, so what we are planning on working with today is, let me grab these ones in. Um, so we're gonna run a few samples. I've got a whole bunch of clay rolled out to run some samples on these so that I can, again, get them added to the website because everyone keeps asking me for photos of everything rolled out in clay. And as of now, I have so many listings, it's going to take me forever to backtrack and get all these updated. So that's kind of our plan for today. Let me real quickly share, throw this up on Facebook, let you guys know that I'm alive. I am live. And let me get that handled real quick. Let's see, they're going to give me the option here. Nope. That again then, share Facebook and live. Okay, cool. So now maybe more people will find us. All right, so where are we going? Let's start with a little piece of clay. And again, just because it helps cover it every time, quick tutorial on how I like to use these rollers is start by burnishing your clay down, making sure that it's sticky. So we start. Oh, actually, I guess I could cover a few more things too. These are little glass. What are they sold as? They're sold at Dollar Tree, and they're like cutting boards. So they're textured on the one side and flat glass on the other. See the reflection in there. And yeah, so they just make nice little clay workspaces, and they go in the oven just fine. So you can work on glass, you can work on tile. Really want something that's got a gloss surface because then the clay will stick to it better than if it doesn't have a gloss surface. And this technique is called burnishing. And it's where you just, usually I just use, I quarter a printer paper. You can use other types of paper, but this works great. So I just quarter up a pile of them and leave them in a corner because they get kind of grungy kind of quick. You'll see it'll start picking up some of the clay and stuff. So once they start getting worn out, I drop them. I like to have a bottle of water on hand so I can squirt my rollers, and that helps make sure that they release the clay pretty easily. So that one's pretty. God, this one is so gorgeous. By the way, this is one of my new favorites. I had it in a tiny version listed, and then I decided I wanted to do the bigger version because it just fit better with these. And I'm glad I did because it's just such a pretty, pretty, pretty pattern. So I use water, and I will just spritz them and roll some of the excess off just to make sure that it doesn't. Okay, we will go this way instead of that. Yeah, just to make sure that the clay doesn't get hung up within the roller. So it's always a good idea to use some sort of release agent. You can see just the tiniest bit of water pooling in all those little spots. It won't take up any space, but it's just enough to make sure that the clay releases out of the roller. I never start at the absolute edge. I'll press in, see if you guys can see. You can't see what I'm seeing. So I'm not all the way at the edge. I will press in slightly in, a little press. I might roll back just a hair and then go forward. And if I come off the pressure, I usually, again, back roll just a little quarter turn. And my pressure kind of sucked there. I didn't have enough left hand into it. So we're going to have to redo this one because that's not a good sample. And I'm going to have to roll out more later. So needed more pressure on my left hand versus my right. So here's scrap. Goodbye. I want all those gorgeous details. Let's go that way. Burnish you down more so on this side because I want to allow it to press the clay long ways. So I get a slightly longer impression. Hit it again with just a little bit of wet just to make sure. Now this is embossing. Pull the handle out a little ways just to make sure it's not pressing it up off the clay, but I still want it there to just give me something to lay into a little bit better. So I'm making sure that I am laying into both sides nice and evenly. There we go. So that is that pattern and embossing. Here's where I stashed my camera. You guys are going to have to give me just a second of patience because I need to photograph each of these as I'm going. Sorry for bumping the camera. You guys have the perfect spot to do it from. All right, so this is embossing, and this is iris, and then we're gonna run one in debossing to trash the messed up one over there. Not have enough room. Tile. So we're gonna want to make sure that we've got enough width. Push this down. Let's push it down here. So the roller handles are not necessary, but handy. I had people asking for them, so I made them, and then of course I have to test them because I made them, and I like them. Especially on the smaller any of the rollers, honestly. Some of these are a little pokey. This one's there's not really any very pokey ones, like the tiny snowflakes. Oh my god, the snowstorm, tiny snowstorm. Oh my gosh, those are pokey. So it's nice to have the handles to lay into. I still want a little pressure on the roller itself, so I've got my outer hand on the handles. I can go in closer. I'm not going to press it off. Actually, doing a little wider, to be honest, because that was my outer hand do it better. That's why it works so well the second time. And I'm just going to lay in. Make sure I've got good pressure all the way and it's even. Oh, there we go. And some piece of something settled in there, so we're just going to take it out. Oh, so if you buy the handle set, I always sell the little nozzle cleaning needles with them. They're like itty bitty. I always put a clay handle on them and throw them in the oven and bake them when I make them for myself. So anytime I like destroy that one and need a new one, I'll put a handle on it and bake it with the handle. So there's the debossing photo. Yeah, taking out of there. Ooh, roses is next. Done. All right, picture. Sorry, guys. For half a second. Super pretty. All right, so now another major thing you want when you're working with polymer clay is a handful of good knives. They're called tissue blades. They're actually used for scientifically sampling tissues, apparently. So yeah. So I don't remember, is it Texas Scientific? There's a website that sells the actual, like that's where these come from, is they're the more flexible ones. They're super slim, they've got a really good edge, like Texas Scientific or something along those lines. Yeah, so that exists. And that's where I have a whole pile of those, and then some of the other ones are just random, like Temu or wherever I ordered blades, Amazon, whatever. So this one's got a lot more firmness to it, where my little one is extra bendy, and then I have a long one that's extra bendy. So I'm pretty sure the long extra bendy and this one came in the same set from somewhere online. Just inexpensive set, but I like the firm one for pulling stuff off of my backing, because that helps a lot. All right, next pattern. Moving along. And let's see, let's go roses embossing. This one's a really pretty pattern. Some of these are like some of the first couple of things I designed like way back in the day. I'm actually gonna pull you out too. Two things at once. Why not? Yeah. So roses. A lot of these are like some of my first patterns. From when I first, about 2 years ago now, first started creating stuff. And it's always so funny. I feel like I'm learning so much and developing so much more of an eye for pattern making and everything else. But every time I go back to the older stuff, it's like I still love it. Like it's still gorgeous. So maybe I haven't learned as much as I thought I have. My lighting a little bit better. Photograph. Yeah, that one's just such a good pattern. And it works great for Makumegane because they're nice and deep. good edges, and they slice right off. They're very pretty. Embossing back. And then this next one is the debossing one. Fun. Yeah, I still haven't built myself a cutter that is the exact right width for these. I need to do that. Just haven't yet. A little bit of space there. Start just in from the edge, lean back, and roll forward. And super pretty. Ready. Nice stuff to that. Super, super, super pretty. Alrighty. Okay, so first one was iris. This one's roses. Next one is sunflowers. Burnish. Both of those. And spritz. Away from the water. Yeah, I should have topped off my water bottle. Alright, and embossing first. For some reason, that's just been the habit. And forward. And embossing goes there. For the picture. I like to try to include the roller itself with the photograph so that I know for sure that it was embossing versus debossing. We'll wait until it's been rolled. On. That's one. And now it's sunflowers debossing. Got like 20 different maybe not 20. I've got a lot of sunflower patterns at this point. I keep running different collections, and somehow they just keep coming up as like coolest thing to make. I don't know. I get obsessive. Billions of butterflies and a ton of sunflowers. A bunch of floral stuff in general because I really like the floral patterning. But camera, focus. Oh, you're not sideways. Take the picture right. Good camera. Alrighty, so sunflowers debossing. I like that one too. Debossing versus embossing. And the last one in this collection is vines. Yeah, it was really entertaining because a lot of this stuff was made before I started making collections of stuff. Um, so usually, like once at this point, once I have an idea, I usually like the sunflowers thing. I'll start playing with a couple different patterns. I'll have like 4 or 5 different ones, and I'll be like, I can't choose between them, so I put them all, set them all up. This was just this flower, that flower, just a bunch of ideas, and the styling on them because I was just playing with, you know, ideas and didn't really have as much of an idea that this was like a professional gig. Um, so I ended up doing just kind of making whatever was tickled my fancy that day. And not a lot of these actually match stylistically. So I make more of a concerted effort to keep a stylistic match as I've gone on. But early on, it was just kind of like, whatever. So some of these, it was actually, so the point was, is it was just kind of entertaining trying to pick through, and it's like, okay, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which ones of you guys all go together? And that was, I already did embossing, now I did debossing. Right, okay. Ah. Sitting right there. I should know what I've done. Again, just a nice firm roll. It's really deep, isn't it? Cute. Okay, photograph. I've got enough clay rolled out to do 2 collections. So this is the end of the first one we're doing today, and this one was Sunny Flowers. That's which collection this is Sunny Flowers. That's the other funny thing, is trying to come up with names for them all. Oh, okay. I was counting. I was trying to count my things, and I'm like, wait a second, that's 9. No, it's 8. I found it. I've got 2 there, and then 2 rows of 3. The quick math wasn't working. So didn't roll the top of that out as good as I could have, but that's all right. And that's sunflowers, more sunflowers, the roses. It's really cool. And then irises, I'm absolutely smitten with at the moment. They're really, 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 really pretty. Lights do better. Okay, so that's that set rolled out. I'm gonna have to get one more piece, make up for the one that I messed up. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to save you from having to listen to the roller. I got it back to me. It can take a minute sometimes. Roughly square. Okay. Down. And now the next set we're going to do is these guys. I believe these are, so it's bold flowers, etched flowers, sunny flowers, and loopy flowers. So this is bold flowers named after the fact that bold blooms is the first one, dahlias, daisies, and then swirly daisies. I love these daisy ones. I've been using a ton. Oh, I got some samples. Aha! Yep. So these are daisies and swirly daisies. I think that one's daisies. Looks like that's all daisies. And then this one was swirly daisies. That's regular daisies. That one's definitely regular daisies. That might be swirly. That might be the swirly daisies again. Yeah, that's daisies. They're a little smaller. And that's daisies. Yeah, so I was playing around with some Akumigani stuff, and that's how that landed, and I'm quite happy with it. All right, so that's the collection we're doing now. So we'll start with bold blooms. Spritz a couple of you guys together in order. Ready. Spritz, 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 spritz. Dahlia ones, I want to make sure get really nice and wet because there's tons of little nooks and crannies. So the more delicate they are, the more likely I am to submerge the rollers. It's the best way to keep them anything from sticking. Did burnish that down. Don't exactly have front, so let's just roll you. Oh, so that stuck a little. Sometimes the best way to deal with that is just give it a little tension and back roll. Nice to be able to show you guys how to deal with things when they come up. And I think the reason it stuck was because I was just getting to the edge of the. So I try to stay within the boundaries and not go off edges. Back edge sometimes will catch, but so far I haven't had any try. But yeah, it's always a good idea to stay within the boundaries. So that one's bold blooms. And you see why I call it bold. Look how hefty those flowers are. So mostly those are interconnected enough. Oh, make sure I'm taking my pictures. Mostly those are interconnected enough that they should even slice off in single pieces. So you potentially could slice those off for full single flowers. Not going to try that right now because we have to do things with this. Maybe once we're done, I'll try one or two. You go where you belong. That's why I have a rack. You just have to remember to use the thing. Oh, if I hadn't mentioned, I've got to get these listed on Etsy. I have these on the website. Both lists are in the description. Um, they're roller racks on my website. On Etsy, they haven't been listed yet, so I need to get them up there. Those things are great for managing rollers. Let's see. On Bold Blooms debossing. Okay. We got one little fleck of clay stuck in there. So I'll take my little clay nozzle cleaning needle and just give it little flicks until we find it all and get it out of there. There you go. There too. Oops, just picked up a tiny bit. So for my own purposes, I wouldn't usually bother messing around with that because it may or may not show up in your next round, but it doesn't really typically seem to matter. There, it's not even stuck in anything, I don't think. It's just on the top of it, so he's just being a little derpish. It's just a loose piece, I think. So this has a few spots that are a little bit more intricate than it looks to begin with. Some more water next time. All right, all better. So it's always a good idea to keep a half an eye on your rollers as you're using them. I'm going to spray these one more time. Make sure that they are so detailed. Ooh, don't do that bad. All right, so embossing first. Square. Okay. Just set a sweet little dahlia flowery leafy looking cuteness. I love this one. Did I get the picture of both blooms, didn't I? Or did I get hung up because I saw clay in the roller? Let me double check. My phone out. Sorry, guys. Yep, I have to take a picture of the other bulb blooms. Let me do that real fast. Yes, Sutton's dahlias. This one's been a long time favorite. I love the patterning on that. It's just wild and fun. Move all of these over here so there's more room there. Okay, so this was debossing. Get in there from a photo. Lighting. Just go. All right, is next. There, you go there. Here. And rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep them patterns rolling. Oh, it's trying to come up with that one. Either I had a little bit of wet on the tile and the clay is not sticking, or I just didn't stick the clay down good enough. way. Go there. Yep, tile's wet. That's what happened. So, wet tile will release. Sometimes that's good for things. It's actually, there's a technique I use that only works on a wet tile. It's really kind of cool too. When I'm doing Mukumigane with these kinds of things, I'll sometimes squish them all back together so that it presses in the layers and the colors and stuff. And when I'm doing that, I like to, what was I going to say? I like to, yeah, I like to squish it all back together. So what I'll do is I'll wet the tile, and then the back of the clay will move around on my tile. And it makes it a lot easier for makes it a lot easier to push it all back together. So maybe I can show that technique. I don't know if I'll have quite kind of have a setup for that, unless we decide to actually run a project today. But I was just going to do these numbers the wrong way. This way, down. And here we go. This one's daisies. Try and get both sets of the daisies to roll out. Oh, come on. I tried the thing. Yep, totally nothing got stuck in the roller. It just caught and pulled. So I think I've still got a wet situation happening on my tile. Or something. Maybe it's on might be on these. Try again. Do want to still try to get both sets of daisies to show up. So front is the main daisy that the pattern's named after. But the daisies that are on the back side of the roller are really pretty too. So I'm going to leave it like that to show where that's going. Camera. There we go. We'll have to pull that one back out again too now. Get most of the water off of it. So in order to be able to roll it back out, I'm trying to squish most of the water off of it. I'll fold it in half, roll it through. I want to show this too. I haven't done a ton with that, but it almost makes a mica shift in itself when you roll it through pasta roller. So you almost don't have to shave to get a cool mica shift effect. You can just like put the texture in and then roll it down most of the way. And it does cool, it leaves a cool effect to it. So it's something else you can try. All right, one more time. The thing is because it's not like I have to roll it for a while to make all those lines and micro particles line back up and stop being silly. So like that. I got it smooth. On that side, I've still got a little bit of, but that doesn't matter because we're not using it. Three. Alrighty. The next one is Daisy's debossing. Go back to spritzing. Yes. My bottle's not running to work laying down because it's not full enough. So put the knife away. Oh, I turned the light off. I'm a dork. Nope, that wasn't the right button either. Turn that one off. There we go. 1, 2, 3. There we go. All right. Let's start this where we definitely get the other daisies involved. There we go. If you roll it continuously, it just keeps going and going and going. Oh, if it matters, I am working in small rollers. I typically, what I build for myself is polymer clay jewelry. And I also do work on small beads. Started making some like jewelry and bracelets and stuff, but mostly it's small beads that I use for my dog show leads. These are how those came out from last week's one. So we were messing around with the other set of rollers that I was building last week. So that's how those came out. And I think they're the best on the light. I think those are amazing. And then this is just some scrap clay that got turned into a bead because it had pretty patterning. I do that all the time. But yeah, I really like the way these came out, especially this antique one. I think that's going to be really fun to mess with. So I have a whole bunch more blank bead bases to fiddle with now too. Anyway, okay, so keep going. Not lose track. ADD kicks in, and it's actually kind of why I end up doing this on camera with you guys, is to keep my ADD in check. Because otherwise, I'd be running off and doing a billion things halfway through this project. So in order to not look like a fool on camera, more than I do, I have to pin myself down and roll my stuff out and have all my things ready to go and run through a line all at once. And doing something funky there with pressure. Yeah, so this one's Swirly Daisies. I don't know. Actually, I guess it should be Swirly Daisy because there's only one daisy in the pattern. But anyway, focus there. Okay. Me yelling at gear to focus is hilarious. No, seriously, focus, camera. I can't focus. I know that, but you have to. It's great. All right, and the last one for what we have rolled out. I do still have one more set to get through on these. I might have to do that without you guys, but unless y'all want to listen to my grindy custom machine motor. Try to not torture you guys with that too often anymore. That one is debossing. It's just so cool. So pretty. Snapping a picture. Okay, so we're done. All right. Lost the water bottle. That's fine. As long as dogs don't steal it and go running around the house with it. That happens a lot. All right. So, and the one more set that I have to do is these guys. So these are the loopy flowers, and I already put away the etched flower set. Oh, I have it here. There we go. So in the tall ones, I still have it sitting around. So this is one of my favorites. It's not impressive in the roller, but it's so pretty when it's rolled out. So it's an etched dahlias. It's actually a photograph I took of some flowers and artsified it because I do that sometimes, and it came out so pretty. Somewhere floating around up here. Is it there? There. Ah, there. It had one. So I was playing around with rollers the other day. Oh, this actually. So these are daisies. No, these are not so large flowers. So this is in that other set that I haven't done. So that's these guys. Not so large flowers. And these are the small double tall, or the tiny double tall rollers. That's what I was using to make those. So. But yeah, this is a flower that I haven't put on the website yet. I still have to figure out what to name it, and it's an intricate one, and I don't see it laying around, so I can't show it to you. But what I was grabbing was these. So this is the etched dahlias in finished jewelry. Not finished, but that is the, let me think here. This is the embossing. That's the way the embossing comes out, right? Yes, that's the way the embossing comes out. And then this set is the way the debossing comes out. So debossing, embossing, and then the effect. I guess we'll probably do. We'll do this with something. Um, this is. I love these powders, but I always forget what they're called. These guys, aqua bronze. That's what they are. So aqua bronze. Copper was not the color I used for this. I have pale gold, and I have silver. And so what's interesting is it was silver clay, but if you dust it with the silver aqua bronze, it really shines up and brightens up the color. So yeah, I think we'll do that for the tutorial. So you guys we'll do a little bit of that with one of these patterns. First things first, though, I need to cut these into their groupings and do the photo like that, or should we just play around with some? That's pretty. Let's just do a little bit of jewelry, and I'll piece all these together on my own time. I might have to end up having to re-roll out whatever we use up, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so this is the irises, and I want that rectangular. I kind of like the rectangular one for that. Where are you guys? Rounded rectangle. The right one. My tripod is blocking my trays. There we go. All right, so cutters. Yeah, the ones I was using for those. I like that. And I think that is exactly as much space as we have there. I think so. Yeah, I can get it just shy at the outer edge of that. So, include enough flowers though, or do I want to go a little to the left and center those a slight bit? No, let's go with that edge. I'm going to snag that, just so I don't end up colorizing more clay than I need to use. I will just leave it as is. I want to make sure I can get 2 sets of earrings that include an iris. And that when I laid the pressure off, that's really pretty there too. Upright enough. If I do that, I don't think I'll have enough room there to do that. But I could do like that. I want that though. Let's just take one and see what we have left to work with. Sorry, I get kind of mumbly when I'm thinking. So I'm going to put you away and then lay you back down. So I definitely have something there. Almost have something there. I think I do have something there actually. There we go. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to actually go ahead and do them pretty much the same way I did that last set. So I'll open the copper. I'm going to add a little bit of the bronze actually in there. And then silver. So the reason I like these powders, and I can't remember where I came across the information, but I saw them advertised as having, basically you're supposed to get them wet and mix them up with some water, and then they become kind of a paint for you. And something in them allows them to bond with water. So considering the fact that acrylics work so well with with polymer clay and bonding into polymer clay. A lot of times you can just bake acrylic into polymer clay and it actually stays as part of the polymer clay. Like where you don't always have to seal acrylics. I figured let's try these and see if we don't have to seal these. And guess what? You don't. I was really surprised to figure that out. So, oh, there we go. Oh, that's a lot of color. Oh, tons of color. Okay. I'm trying to just get ours a little bit of two-toning going on here, so it's not all one color or the other. I kind of want some of the darker in behind. Oh, I got some on the counter. Behind, in the creases of the flowers and stuff is kind of what I'm aiming for with the copper. So, there, and I got too much in the background. Brush some of the color off of there. Pick up a little gold. Start laying that in everywhere else. And then I also find the more you kind of polish, because the goal is putting this all inside, because I'm going to pull back what's on the outer topmost layer. The goal is setting all of this in, so I kind of want to dust it with the brush a good bit on the deeper layers and just make sure it sets in there really good. And I also kind of want to get it to blend into each other really well too, so the colors just kind of come and go a little. I want to overlap the copper with some gold, and then I might come back through and lay a little more copper into. And I'm getting powder everywhere, but that's kind of the game, isn't it? You can't create without making a mess. You are, you're probably not doing it right? You just gotta let go and have a little fun. And definitely so important to step into and channel into that creative energy that's in all of us. I know sometimes it's harder to find, and sometimes it's easier to just stay hung up in so called real world stuff. But it's so healthy for us to just kind of step out of the drama of what we call real life and just express whatever comes to mind. I think it's so important for creatives to create. It's like compulsion, it's not something you can turn down, I swear. The ideas just start to haunt you until you're like, oh, that needs to be accomplished. I swear they have a life of their own. Okay, so that is that. Let me dust off my little brush. And previously, I would spritz these a little with water because, like I said, whatever it was I heard that I didn't acknowledge or remember where I heard it. There's something in the advertising for these originally. Is they do activate with water, but I found that like the set that I had over here, these are straight out of the oven and they're coated on top, and I haven't done anything with them, and they really don't like it doesn't really come off much. So yeah, I mean it holds up really good, especially what's down in there. All right, so the next thing I use when I'm doing this is a little bit of painter's tape. And yes, I found Purple's painter tape and had to have it. I don't remember what style it was, but oh, here's something too. So a lot of these can be used for stamping, and that gives you a good idea of how that would stamp. So the Makumegani designs and rollers, that's really pretty. Love that patterning. The Makumegani designed rollers are more or less two-dimensional. So I don't have tons of back and forth on details of these. They're kind of more straightforward, like top and bottom, and that's almost it. This is a little bit more. I should have almost pulled this one as an intricate, but I wanted the depth on it. I didn't want to leave it at the 2 and I don't remember what the depth was on it, but anyway, it's like 2 and change versus 3 millimeters on an extra large. So the depth on this is more than if I'd done it in the intricate version. So that's why that one's deep. Normally, most even like this, the lacy flowers, it's still kind of there's a little there's still only really 2 depths. It's like the lines are one height, and the non-lines are another. So what makes them really cool is that they also lay lay paint or color or whatever. So you can roll them in a tray of like you probably want to use a sponge full of acrylic and just roll them across a sponge of acrylic, roll them onto whatever you want to roll them onto. So these stamp really pretty. Anyway, so that was the point. But yeah, so what I do here is I'm just going to work on pulling back the top layer. So we're exposing that silver back again. Just very, very, very lightly burnish. Using a little bit of sticky that the tape has. Pull back. Because I won't get the silver. Oh, I closed the silver, I'm a dork. Stick to where there's already the copper and the gold. So I could just leave the silver. It's so pretty. I love this. I could just leave the copper and light gold alone and let the silver be the silver of the clay. But I'm going to dust it up just to brighten it a little. And then, yeah, you can see there very obviously how much brighter it is when you put this on it too. And then, in case I didn't mention it in this video yet, the reason I use the silver or some version of metallic clay when I'm doing sampling is I find tends to it tends to be the firmest without being obnoxiously firm, like translucent's obnoxiously firm. But the metallics tend to have a little more firmness to them, so they don't get super, like the black that I have just gets so soft. It just, yeah, it's going to catch in the rollers if you're not really, really careful. So like if things are too soft, you might want to leach them out and let them sit on paper so that they pulls a little bit of the extra oils out of them and allows them to firm up. Oh, my paper got wet. That's not garbage. Yeah, there we go. And I think it'd be really pretty to frame them in some sort of texture also, but that's after this gets baked. Okay, so these can go get shoved in the oven. I'm gonna tap off whatever extra powder there is. All right, most of that's gonna stay until after it's baked. Yeah, yeah, this should make very, very, very pretty little pendant set. Gosh, it's so pretty. I love it. All right, yeah, this iris is like one of my favorites. All right, and then again, because I've started working on so much jewelry, I went from using the smalls all the time, which are really great, and I use the smalls all the time, to then I started using or making a double tall, which then the small double tall is a nice size, but it's a little bit big. Oh, I do have one sitting out here. So that's a small double tall. That's water lilies. Lily pads. This one's lily pads. Water lilies is the ultra deep one. So yeah, that's lily pads. And it is exactly too small in height. So one, and then the second one, and yeah. So that is a small double tall. And then I decided, because I'm working so often in the jewelry stuff, I wanted tiny double talls, because when you go even smaller, my details get smaller. So when I'm doing especially bead work and small pendants, like I could have used this for the necklace piece and then this to do my earrings. And the details will be the same, matching, just on the smaller side. So scaled down a bunch. It's still got a good bit of depth to it for as little as it is. So I haven't done too many of the intricate and small double talls yet. And I'm only selling these in the collections. So I'm not going to have them available as single rollers because that just gets redundant because then they're itty bitty and they're way small. So, or not, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it tiny, and I'm not going to sell them. At the moment, I'm not selling them in singles because it's just too much to have listed on Etsy. So they are only available in the collections, but they are going to be listed in the collections. So it's like 3 or 4 rollers per collection, and they're really reasonably priced. So I kind of figured it lets you guys have like a inexpensive way to jump in. I think I'm charging the same for these as for the regular smalls. So you can get tiny double tall, or you can get the smalls. for the same price. So it allows people to have just a little bit more of a range of stuff. Yeah, it's an easier one to collect, and you start getting all the extra larges and small double talls, and the small double talls are twice the cost of doing these. So, and it is that much material, but these are enough smaller that I can do the double talls in these for the same price I can do the smalls. So I figured that was a cool way to lay that out, and I'm making them for myself. So obviously they're a good size for some things. So I figured I'd make them available. So that is what I'm working on. I'm gonna have to do all the samples on that at some point too, but that's not today. Oh, and then the cutters, I do have one set. I think it's the teardrops are on the website. But yeah, so these, if you guys were wondering, the cool thing about these is I have a handle, I have a crossbar, and these set on the crossbar, and you can put the center in them if you want, or you could keep that up there, or a hole for that if you want. It's not as snug for some reason. Oh, there we go. Now it's in. Yeah, so you can put that up there. You can put centers in them. You can do all sorts of things to do a bigger center up there for it. It's actually a nice shape too. I like that. And then you can put the back on it, and it gives you a handle. So when you go to press bigger rollers into clay, you can lay into it, and you can give it a little wobble wobble, and make sure you get all your edges, and you can do a little shimmy shimmy, and you can make sure you get a really good clean cut out of them. So I love having the handle set on those. So these are on the website only. I haven't figured out, yeah, the options. I can only put so many options on Etsy before the listings get really cluttered. So I'm doing more on the website as far as this kind of stuff goes. But yeah, I don't think you can, I don't have this listed on Etsy at all. So this is only on the website. But I think you can buy the handle and the crossbar, I'm pretty sure is listed along with these. And then the one other set I have, I don't have them laid out in the tray properly because I had a printer issue and I had to sell the tray I was using for myself. But these are Skinner blend sets, so you can use you can cut the end pieces as many centers and crisscross back and forth, or you can just do 2 half pieces, or there's also a square that's the size of 3 of these or 2 of those. So that was something else I have. That is on Etsy, but I need to add to the listing where you can get the handle piece. The other funky thing about this is the handle piece makes a really good burnisher. So like, remember we're burnishing the clay down? You can use this and just, it gives it a really nice, because it rounds up the edges, and then it's got a nice wide flat spot. So for a while I was using these steel soap things, but it's all curved, so it doesn't get flat enough anywhere, where this is nice and flat, but then it doesn't push an edge in. So for some reason I ended up liking this better than that. So that's now my official burnishing tool also. But anyway, yeah, so I think that covers most of what's going on in the shop this week. Oh, I have something cool to show you guys. Didn't shoot that yet? Nope. Just because it's neat. Jumbo double tall. So the pottery people love the rollers, and they sometimes work on platters and all sorts of huge stuff. And they even get that in the whole screen. Let me do that go away. Put you back where you came from. Hey, I made it in. Don't knock over though. You stay put. Yeah, it's enormous. So I don't have this pattern out, but yeah. So you can get things as big as this. Again, only on the website, because Etsy would make me crazy trying to print enough of those. This I have a single printer that can print this, and it's temperamental. So yeah, I'm not trying to sell tons of these all over the world, but if anybody wants them, they're available on my website, not the Etsy shop. But yeah, so that compared to that, that's the range of sizes I'm working with now. I think it's absolutely hilarious. Especially because, well, this comes off the other printer, but then when sometimes I'll do a printer, let me double, no, it's all gone. Yep, everything else cool made it out in the mail today, but that is for the right size box to come tomorrow so it can go out. But yeah, I thought you guys would get a kick out of that. And I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I have some cutting and pasting to do to put these all together so that they become sample like a grid. I'll put all the embossing ones together in each set and all the debossing ones together in each set. So I've got some cool pictures for the website. So all of that fun work. All right. Hope you guys all have a wonderful time. It was great chatting with you all, and I will see you the next time I have something tedious to do that I don't want to do alone, or come up with a great idea that I want to try. Hope you all have a great one.